Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Vega Insights. I'm Luke Bideaux, President and CEO of Vega Imaging Informatics. And with us today is Michael Danson. Michael is the CEO of IES Advisors, which is a consulting firm focused on providing tools and services that enterprises need to be successful in medical imaging. Michael, great to have you here today on the show.
Hey, great to be here, Luke.
All right. So, today, we're going to talk about how AI is empowering the imaging informaticists. There's a lot of information out there on how AI is affecting healthcare in general. We see a lot about what it's doing for the radiologists, and we have two imaging informatics professionals here today, Michael and myself. Many years of experience as imaging informaticists, and we're going to talk about the changes that AI is bringing to this field and what other imaging informaticists should be aware of. So, we're going to start by just kind of talking about the current state of imaging informatics in the United States. One thing is that you're seeing a lot of enterprise imaging initiatives, which challenges the informaticists in many ways. I myself came from a radiology background, same as Mike. And um, now we are forced to start handling different types of imaging objects. There's visible light objects, videos, you know, um, different modalities popping up all the time. And so, um, imaging informatics professionals today need to have expertise and tools to handle all of the challenges that happen in the enterprise imaging world. Another thing is interoperability. Uh, Interoperability has always been a challenge, but I think it's more so even today with the adoption of AI solutions, trying to get those integrated into the core systems. Um, you know, Practice to practice interoperability and things is still a challenge for many organizations, and so um, we're going to talk a little bit about some of these challenges and what AI can do to help solve those issues, or at least ease the pain of some of these things. Mike, what are some of the other challenges we're seeing today in the imaging field?
Well, I mean, some of the things that we're seeing is obviously just like the rest of the medical community is the staffing shortage in in the informatics, PACS administrators in general, and things like that, and just the vast knowledge of stuff that we need to cover as an informaticist. It's no longer oh, we need to get these images here. We need to we have to do this. We have to do that. I mean, there's more and more getting put onto us.
Yeah, you mentioned staffing shortages, and I sit on the board for the American Board of Imaging Informatics, and I keep my eye pretty close on the number of certified imaging informatics professionals that are out there. And surprisingly, the numbers are pretty stagnant, like compared to 10 years ago where we were at with the number of certified imaging informatics professionals. And so there's always been a shortage of imaging informaticists, but as the field of medical imaging grows, and we're not seeing the growth in imaging informatics professionals, it creates a problem for a lot of organizations. And so the imaging informaticists that are out there um, are often tasked with doing more, right? Um, and so maybe AI can help, these informaticists be more effective and be able to handle, um, more and more studies in their practices and be able to do greater things. So, um, yeah, let's sort of, as a next step, talk about different types of AI that are out there. Um, and I'd like to start by clarifying some of the buzzwords that you hear. Um, you hear AI, and then you also hear machine learning. Um, the new one that's a big buzzword is agentic AI. And then there's just like the phrase automation, and a lot of these get used interchangeably. Um, and I think it's important for the imaging informaticist to understand the terms, first of all, and be able to decipher the different types of AI that are out there before they start determining which ones they may use. So, um, just AI in general, I think can be defined as, uh, computer systems that think and behave like human intelligence. And so, um, machine learning would be considered like a subset of AI, which is training machines against patterns of data, um, to be able to make decisions off of that. And so, um, not every AI is considered machine learning. It's really just a subset of AI, and there's other types of AI that exist. Um, Agentic AI is the type of AI that's going to actually complete tasks automatically. Um, and you're starting to see more of this. I've even seen, some of the generally available models like ChatGPT or Gemini, start to give you more instructions instead of just you prompt it and it gives you an answer back. It's giving you instructions, and you can see how it can go from, just giving you those instructions to actually doing those those instructions that it's giving you and actually executing them. And so you're starting to see systems that um, can not only think of the solution but also can execute the solutions. And so that the full end to end type of solution there would be considered agentic AI. And then you have automation, which is really just, more on the basic machines following a set of rules to automate a process. And so um, we're going to talk about some different use cases in AI, and can kind of categorize the different types. But it's important to understand them as you're looking at the solutions that may be out there. Um, how else could you kind of categorize the AI that's out there, Mike? Does anything come to mind?
Well, and I mean, I definitely agree with you that I mean, with how you defined everything. AI is that umbrella term that everybody uses. It's AI. And do half the people know what AI is? Probably
Mhm,
not.
mhm,
But I mean, and you know, I see in my life, I'm using more of the agentic AI to do things. I'm no longer going to chat GPT and saying, "Hey, how do you do this?" And it tells me how to do it. I'm going to, an AI program, not necessarily chat GPT, but any of them, and saying, "This is my problem. Solve it for me."
mhm.
And it's able to solve it for me, especially as like an informaticist also.
Yeah. And that's what's really interesting is, going to that next level, um, kind of being a hybrid worker where, you're leveraging the technology to not only help you be more effective, but also to do part of your job or all of your job, depending on what it is. So it's really interesting. So let's sort of dig into some of the use cases that may be available to imaging informaticists. Um, and let's start with just the workflow. I think many IIPs are in charge of making sure that the workflow for their organization is running smoothly and troubleshooting anything that could impede studies from getting from start to finish. Um, and a big part of a workflow for many organizations is how are we going to get studies routed to where they need to go? Could be actually routing the DICOM objects from point A to point B, um, Or you could think of it in terms of routing studies to the right radiologist for reading or prioritizing studies to be read first over others. What are you seeing today, Mike, in this area that can help imaging informaticists with this type of workflow automation need?
Well, a lot of the workflow or orchestration. I mean, we'll throw the buzzword out there. Uh, is most of it today is being done at the, we'll say, at the vendor side. So y- you go to a DICOM router and you say, okay, let's program the rules. The rules do what it has to do, but there's no thought to it. Uh, and as the vendors are starting to develop, uh, we'll just say, more intelligent orchestration models, embedding AI into it and saying, oh, this these are read by this doctor, but this doctor has 10 still in their queue to be read. Let me send it over to this doctor. That's where AI, I think, is going to really help in the workflow.
Yeah.
Uh, but I don't really know where else in the workflow aspect of it, as in, we'll use that automation key term,
Mhm.
that how an informaticist, unless they're actually sitting there and writing the LLMs or whatever to figure out that whole uh scenario where they
Mhm.
can do it on their own.
Yeah, and certainly not every solution that the IIP implements or comes up with needs to be something that they've developed, right? There
Hmm.
could be commercial solutions out there that they just need to be able to understand that, okay, we have this problem, could be solved by this commercial AI solution, and I'm gonna advocate for the adoption of it, and then
Hmm.
once it gets adopted, I'm gonna administrate the system and so forth. So, um, yeah, I think you sort of hit the nail on the head when you talked about the difference between legacy workflows that were driven by rules, where there's no intelligence behind the rules. It's just the set rules versus now the next level up, introducing some intelligence to that orchestration where the AI is doing more than just following rules. And it can come into play with a lot of things in the workflow, right? It can come in from as the data comes in and we're normalizing it. There's AI solutions that are looking at the images and slapping on a nice clean series description and study description. Um, there's solutions that are doing worklist prioritization, routing it to the correct radiologist. And all of these solutions go beyond just a basic um, following predefined rules. So, workflow, I think there's a lot going on in that space.
Hmm.
And if
Definitely.
you're an imaging informaticist in charge of a workflow, now is a great time to look at solutions that are out there, or consider developing your own that may be able to help improve workflow efficiencies. Um, we touched a little bit on this next one, but data management. You know, um, At Vega, we do a ton of data curation and de-identification and validation. And in that space, whether you're a researcher or a data provider, um, this is an area where AI can really do a lot um, in helping to, like I mentioned before, assess what the study is, be able to take action on it, whether it needs some normalization done, certain de-identification, such as identifying PHI on the pixels and being able to de-identify the areas where the PHI exists. Those types of things on data management. I don't know, Mike. Does anything else come to mind?
No,
Do you
I think the big one that you just hit on was the old burnt in data, where most modern day modalities have the ability to no longer do that. It's now it's all strictly overlays versus burned, but you still have some ultrasound and nuke med machines. Nuke med machines, they're around for 30, 40 years. I mean, uh,
right.
but using the AI for OCR, scanning and knowing that that's a character there that could possibly be PHI, or something like that, and actually pixelating it or totally removing it from the image data. Uh, you know, it's no longer putting that black box over it and sending it out and saying, "Oh, I covered over the PHI," but meanwhile they demask it and PHI is still underneath it.
Yeah.
I mean, we did that for years.
Yeah, hopefully we're beyond that, right? But,
Yeah.
the tools are out there, and it's exciting to see, but, the community needs to really dive into, what's out there and be able to bring it into practice, and that's the challenge. Um, Next one I wanna talk about is interoperability, and I'm curious if you've seen anything there where AI has helped, just in general with interoperability challenges. Does anything come to mind for you?
It's nothing that I've been really working on with interoperability. I'm trying to think of where AI could definitely help in there. But it's not one of the topics that I've been following as
Yeah,
far as my day-to-day stuff. Uh,
yeah.
it's definitely an issue. But I mean, we can only
I
take
would
on so
say,
much.
um, yeah, where it's come up for me personally has been on the troubleshooting side, and my team used to be, looking at some of these error codes or logs, it's so cryptic that nobody can make any sense of it. But now with the models that are available, just ChatGPT and things, for instance, can really help a support representative troubleshoot an interoperability issue or any kind of, you know, communication issue in ways that never were before possible. And, I've seen within my team, even the lower level support reps being able to do more advanced things with the help of AI,
Mm.
troubleshooting, issues that otherwise they would have really been in trouble with. Um, and it seems like this is the future of imaging informatics support. Support is a huge component
Mhm.
of the imaging informaticist role. Um, and you and I have had conversations in the past about how these AI models understand the standards so well that it goes beyond what most informaticists can do. Um, and interoperability is all about leveraging those standards. And usually, when there's an issue, it's because one side is not following the standard. And so, I think troubleshooting issues with interoperability becomes much much easier through the help of AI, and hopefully, as things develop with interface engines and new solutions coming out, their ability to adopt the standards should become better, right? Because rather than some programmer trying to interpret the standard and put it into the code, AI can help develop that and just automatically kind of incorporate the standards into the interface engine or whatever type of um, interface the system has for interoperability. So,
Well,
uh,
one of the nice things, Luke, with AI and going into the interoperability and into tools and stuff like that. You kind of hit it on the head when you started talking about standards. So you can go into uh, coding AI, and you can say, okay, here's my requirements. I follow the DICOM standard. I follow the HL7 2.x standard. I follow the fire standard, IHE, HIE. So anything I develop has to follow those standards. So
Right.
therefore, you know that you are following the standards. So therefore, your tool that you have will be able to test to the standard. Does that mean that what you're getting is to the standard? No, but at least you know that you're looking for the standard. We run into a lot of issues importing CDs, and what's the problem with it? Oh, I don't know. The packs won't take it. Well, why won't it take it? Well, there's a bad header. There's a bad metadata. Why is it what one which tag is it? I don't know. I just know it won't go into the packs.
Right.
So I've actually developed tools that will go through and look at all the metadata
Mhm.
and say this tag does not is not compliant to the DICOM standard. Okay. Now the question is, do I know how to fix it? That's a whole nother can of
Mhm.
worms.
Yeah. Well, it's a good segue into the development side of things. And I think you can speak to this one because, you've you got a little background in development coming into this, but now with the advent of AI assisted development, you've been able to help develop solutions that go beyond maybe what you would have thought would be possible even a year ago or two years ago. So, um, tell me a little bit about what's available out there for informaticists uh, to help them with the problems that they experience on a day to day basis.
Yeah, I mean the biggest one that I ran into over the years. So as you were saying, I was a tech for I don't know 20 years. Couldn't I was a software engineer. I came back to be an informaticist, marrying my two skills together. But the biggest thing that we always ran into is, oh, we have this problem. We don't know how to solve it, but no one wants to buy the tool for us. Well, now, I mean, in minutes, you can go into AI and say, I need a tool that will emulate this ultrasound machine. And then you can now test against that ultrasound machine. And that ultrasound machine is not even on the network because it's just a virtual machine that's emulating it. uh, pull in
Mhm.
DICOM conformance statements, so that you can actually make that tool almost identical to how that machine is going to work. Uh,
Mhm.
and it's no longer, when am I going to get the tool? It's going to be like, okay, I need a half hour and I can have some bare bones thing that I can test it.
Mhm.
Modality work list is another one. I mean, how many times you put you a machine queries and the vendor's like, I don't know why it's not showing up, but we can see on the modality work list provider side, it was sent.
Mhm.
So now, I mean, with the use of AI, I have created a lot of those tools that I can use on a day to day basis just to try to figure out what's going on without, oh, the hospital is an hour down the road. Now I have to go there and sit in front of the machine, and talk to a vendor on the phone.
Yeah. I'm interested to hear a little bit more about this. I mean, I'm not a developer. I don't have a skill set in that area. How far away would you say somebody like me is? I haven't subject matter expertise in imaging informatics, but how far away am I from being able to create solutions with AI assistance? Um, is this a big knowledge gap that I would need to spend a lot of time with, or what would that look like for someone
You
like
y- you actually have a better chance of developing a tool or a product today with AI than software developers.
me?
Having that subject matter expertise, knowing what the system needs to do, you can tell the AI, this is what I wanted to do. It will create something, and then you have the expertise to go in there and say, no, it's not doing what I wanted to do. Whereas the
Mhm,
developer with no, little or no expertise to where you are today, uh, would be like, yeah, it's doing what I told it to do, but they don't know that it's not doing what it has to.
mhm,
Uh, and I recently just got involved in this myself. I for years got I think I've been a SIP since 2010, aging myself. But I mean, I've always been like, oh yeah, they say AI can do it, but until you actually sit down and try and do it, you don't know really that you can do it
mhm,
because you know what the expected outcome is.
mhm,
So I mean, I think that all informaticists need to give it a chance. They have to be able, you know, maybe it's some sleepless nights, sitting there trying to figure it out. But eventually you'll get to the point where you're comfortable with it and
mhm.
be able to develop what you need to do. As I said, it may not be, for lack of words, a full blown VNA, but it'll be the tool that you need to get that job.
Yeah, that's a great perspective. Encouraging to hear, that maybe, um, AI can really help imaging informaticists grow in ways they never would have imagined. Um, and fill knowledge gaps that they don't have to help,
Hmm.
do things that previously wouldn't have been possible. So that's really encouraging to hear. Um, and I'll have to take you up on that challenge and give this a try with some of the development side of it. Um, and I think,
We'll create our own little hackathon.
yeah, not a bad idea. Yeah, and I think what it comes down to is shift in mindset for imaging informaticists out there. I know many IIPs and PACS administrators think of themselves as a like a ticket resolver or keeping the ship afloat type of a role. And I think with the help of AI, those IIPs can now go beyond that and think of themselves more as an architect, a solutions architect, not only just, you know, keeping the ship afloat, so to speak, but finding ways to really architect solutions that could make the whole system more efficient and even, builders of solutions um, that can add a lot of value for the organization. So um, I think, it's going to be exciting times for the imaging informaticists that take the challenge and want to grow outside of the roles that they're in. So I'm curious to get your thoughts on the future of the imaging informatics professional role. Um, I know, like with the radiologist role, there's still a lot of fear out there that maybe it'll take their jobs down the road. It's a lot of so that's been a conversation that's been ongoing. Um, but you know, you're starting to see things that are making it become clear how a fully automated interpretation workflow could happen for certain types of exams. And so I'm just curious to get your take on, what do you think AI will do to the role of the imaging informatics professional? Will it still be around 5, 10 years from now?
I think it's going to morph. It's going to go from us doing the day to day stuff that we're doing to, as you kind of alluded a second ago, as a systems architect. You know, uh, the AI tools for CAD, you know, or whatever it is that workflow orchestration, dictation. You know, we're going to be the architects that are designing that workflow and making all the. I mean, the systems don't put themselves together by themselves. So we will be required to be able to be knowledgeable enough and use all of our and be comfortable enough, I should say, with the AI tools, so that we can, uh, you know, grow in our industry and no longer be that data entry, as you started saying, with resolving tickets, or whatever. That's not really our role as an informaticist. I mean, an informaticist needs to be able to resolve and predict where the future's going for all these systems.
Yeah, that's a good point. Um, so, Mike, can you give the community of IIPs out there your suggestion on how they can grow to be more effective with AI? What sort of skills should they focus on if they were going to focus on, you know, putting themselves in the position to do more with AI?
Well, I think the most important thing that a IIP can do is embrace it. Don't shy away from it. Maybe it's not something you understand today, but it's not going away. Uh, so embrace the technology, get comfortable with the technology, just like a brand new pack system or whatever. You have to get comfortable with it where it's second nature to you. So I think as long as you're embracing the technology and you're growing with the technology, that's where you need to be. Because as I said to you, when we've talked before, yeah, I they say that AI can do it. I don't believe them. Well, look at me today. I mean,
Mhm.
I've embraced it and I'm using it to the best of my abilities as a subject matter expert.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, um, it's amazing how it um, never disappoints. It seems like things that I prompt AI for um, continue to get better. And I'm often really surprised at how well um, some of the results are. And it just keeps getting better and better. And so I'm sure many listeners out there had the same experience with their use of AI, over the short period of time that we've had it available. And so with that in mind, um, it follows that if you take the initiative to dive into doing more with AI, you're likely to be impressed with the results of what you're able to achieve. And it may go far beyond what you even would have imagined would be possible. And so I'd like to encourage folks to take it take it another step further wherever you're at in your journey with it. Um, yeah, I've been impressed with Mike and invited him on to the show because I've seen him take that extra step, get outside of his comfort zone, and now he's doing great things. So um, I just want to encourage the community to do the same. Um, and I think with that we can close the session. Just want to encourage everyone subscribe here to Vega Insights to follow our perspectives on the industry. Check us out on social media and check out both the Vega Imaging Informatics and IES websites. And we appreciate your time and we look forward to seeing you on the next episode of Vega Insights.
Thanks for having me, Luke.
Thanks, Michael.